You'll be the first one speaking. Peace and love from the Tanya 23 experience. Welcome everyone. Today on Melanin Dialogue is about heart and harmony, or heat and harmony. How we deal with each other in our love relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, significant other, whatever you'd like to call it. Our communication levels with each other looks like we've got a lot of work to do out there. There's been a rise in domestic murders in the Black community, domestic violence arrests, period. And actually, it's over a 15% uprise pretty much everywhere. I don't think there is a state that can say they are not experiencing an uprise in everything. So wherever our people are, we're either up or down. We're either making it work or it's a bad situation. So we're here today to talk about it. And first off, I'd like to thank my beautiful guests that have joined us today. We have brother Raheem. Um, he will talk and introduce himself when we go around. There's a lot of feedback, so everyone's on mute until it's their turn. We have our brother Thomas from Black Service Podcast, and we have Sister Amaka, Queen Goddess Amaka. And first off, she will lead us in this conversation when we were talking about how things can get in a verbal conversation, how fast they can switch, how we need to listen to one another, and her personal perspective. So, Queen Goddess, I turn the floor over to you, and I'll mute my mic.
Okay, hello everyone. Um, my advice comes from personal experiences. Not anything I read in a book, but come from personal experiences. Um, I've been married to my husband now for 30 years, as I mentioned earlier before we went live. In relationships with men and women, I've been in a relationship with a woman before. I had to take her life because she tried to take my life. It wasn't a serious thing, but it was like for me, it was like something to do. But she was on a whole nother different mental plane. And when I wanted to sever the relationship, the short time that it was in existence, she threatened my son and daughter. She said she was going to take my son and daughter out. So what happened, happened. I want to say, and I've been married to my husband for 30 years now. What I do want to say is that fearful women or fearful men are subject to unreasonable panic. In the beginning of your relationship, you need to have a serious conversation with your spouse, with your mate, with your girlfriend, boyfriend, lover, whoever it is. You need to set deal breakers. You need to be upfront with them from the beginning to find out what's a deal breaker for you. And you need to learn how to communicate. Sometimes you have to challenge yourself, bring up issues, bring up so you can see how far a person will go. It's bad to get somewhere with isolated with somebody, whether you on a top of a Grand Canyon or whether you are in your car riding or whether you are in a park on a bike. It's bad to get with somebody that you really don't know and you don't know their triggers. And all of a sudden, y'all been cool for 6 months, 7 months, a year, and all of a sudden you get into a heated confrontation. They might be dealing with some type of anxiety or some type of anger that is embedded in them. And then you say something and the conversation go, because it could turn left real quick. If two people are get emotionally out of control, it can turn left real quick. So I think it's very, very important in relationships when you start dating a person, start opening up, communicating, and let them know how important. Y'all have to be on the same page. It's very, very important. We can't always use excuses. We know that black men and black women, we are under a whole lot of pressure on all different levels. We already know what the levels are economically, educationally, all different levels. We are under a lot of pressure. We have always been under a lot of pressure. Under each era that we come through, they keep coming back for us. And then we have to deal with each other. And then we have to wonder why. And then our men choose each other. Or now our men are choosing other nations of women, other nationalities of women. And then we're angry about that. So it's a lot of violence, but it can be contoured. It can be contoured. We just have to come together intelligently, because if I have to argue, I don't want to have to argue with nobody, because to me, if you argue with a person, they're not listening to you. Either you ain't listening to them, and they're not listening to you. And if we're not listening to each other, we can't communicate. What are we doing here? So I think it's very important to, when you meet someone, get to community. Don't the sex and all that and going out and dating, eating all that. Let's get to the real issues first, and then let's kind of go backwards. Now people are jumping into relationships because if somebody got a nice body, or somebody got a nice job, or they got a nice car, or they make a lot of money, or they live in whatever the issues might be. Be able to communicate, because people might look very, very well. They might look like they all together until some issue arise where you have to communicate with them, and you be like, oh, this is just straight, this person right here is a straight nut. Then you find yourself backed up against the wall, and they in a rage, and you trying to figure out where's all this rage coming from, but you never had the conversation. Certain things you never even dabbed into about their childhood that might trigger them. So I think all these things, along with whatever you all have to share, needs to come into play, and those things we have to work on, so it won't be no more homicides. So it's going to keep being homicides. It ain't nothing new. Homicides been happening in our relations. We've been being brutalized by each other for a long, long reason. We come the black men back in the 60s and early 70s got it on their jobs. Used to come home, and what the white man took out on them, there to take it out on us. So we have to learn how to redirect that energy and just love on each other more, communicate in a way where it's going to be healing. And if you can't get along, you can need to separate before anything kick off violently. That's all I have to say right now. I can't hear you. Okay.
My bad. Sorry about that. Forgot I was on mute. Brother Raheem, are you ready?
Yes, I'm
Can you
ready.
hear me?
I'm here
Okay,
taking notes.
yes, your turn. Give your perspective.
Um, man, where can I start? Um, love is tough, man. Love is tough, especially when in this era we are in now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's more pressure on the black woman, of course, and it's more pressure on the black man as well. And there's more temptations out there. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't social media in the 70s and the 80s and 90s. And fortunately, I was able to see the late 80s and 90s and the early 2000s, so I know the difference. And like even myself, like I try not to follow too much provocative, like I'm gonna be straight up. I try not to follow the strippers and the girls who I know who making money on social media, or who just be shaking their little things on social media, because that can be a distraction within your relationship. You'll start wanting what's on social media, and then you'll be in her DMs, and then you'll be coming home to a knife in your chest, or a bullet in your back, or some poison in your food, because you're cheating on your girl, or you're cheating on your wife. And it's the same way for the females too. You got men who are buff and they got these rental cars, so they got money. There's men who got money. You know what I'm saying? And they are bringing it. They are stringing the females along. They like, hey, come be with me, do this and do that, and that woman can have a good home, a good dude. He take care of her. but she want more. And that good dude turns into a maniac and kills her and the family. And that's happening in the black community. And there's a lot of black women who are traumatized because they've been molested, they've been touched. And there's men who are traumatized just due to life. You know what I'm saying? So they're bringing that to the table, and it's becoming a spiritual warfare because we definitely need more love within the black man and the black woman in the black community. We have become each other's worst enemies. And I'm not gonna sit back and be like act like I'm the most perfect man on this earth. Like I've said the foul things out of my mouth to the woman, the black woman. I've broken two hearts at least. You know what I'm saying? Had my heart broke, so karma is a BITCC. And I'm not abusive, you know what I mean? But I don't know no man in my life that is not verbal abusive that won't call a woman out her name if that woman did something to him or said something to him. So it's definitely a spiritual warfare. And I know in the South, I respected the couples that go to church together. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not religious, I'm not a Bible quote or anything, but if you go to the masjid or if you go to the church, I would suggest that to keep your relationship strong. And I would say put the God or Allah first. And I believe that'd be a successful marriage. That'd be a successful relationship. Like I love looking at elder couples who've been together for over 30, 40, 50 years. And there's couples that I know who are 26, 27. I see them posting their anniversary pictures. And I love that shit. You know what I'm saying? Once upon a time myself, I was married, but I was married very young. I didn't honor my vows because I barely understood what the vows was. But now I'm at the age where I am now, I know a thing or two about love, and I know a thing or two about relationships. And at the same time, you gotta put the woman first. And at the woman gotta put that man first, you know? And that's just the gist of it. Like love is tough. But love is a blessing though. Love could be a very beautiful blessing. And I highly encourage the black man to love the black woman and the black woman to love the black man. Put each other first, you know, because we all traumatized in some sort of way. We all traumatized. You know what I'm saying? And it's just put our traumas together, even if they go to counseling, you know, go to counseling together. You know, go catch a jazz show together, take some walks on the beach. You know, you got kids, bring them with you. You know what I mean? Make it a team effort, a family effort. And don't bring people in your business or in your relationship. And stay loyal. You know?
Yes,
That's all.
absolutely. I just wanted to I have a series of questions for the guys and the females after everybody goes. Were you done, Brother Raheem?
Yes, ma'am. And salute, Brother Rizzy.
Yes, salute, Brother Rizzy and
Black
Sister
Power,
Mama
man.
Earth, Queen Goddess Mama Earth. Yes, welcome.
King Goddess
Next
Earth.
we have
Black Power.
up is let me see, Brother Thomas from Black Service Podcast. Are you ready?
Most certainly, most certainly. Peace and blessings to
All
all.
right.
And I don't. I'm the same with the brother who just went, man. Like I don't know where to start. Like I guess first and foremost, it's love. Love is powerful, but I think with the trauma that a lot of us have endured through our time, I think self love is key to when you're dealing with relationship. Um, I I've been through my situations with women. Um, my previous relationship ended in my son passing away, and you know I had to do a whole lot of searching within myself, searching within what I wanted, understanding why I wanted those things, healing myself, stuff like that. And I ended up being with a woman who is great, who, is a great black woman. And um, is very, very loving and very, very caring. But I had to understand at some particular point, I had to heal myself. I think a lot of us, at some particular point, have to heal ourselves to truly know, or even truly know or understand what it is that you want for yourself. Because not everybody is not for you, and you know, you can knock on different doors, but sometimes the invitation to come in isn't, always as fruitful as you want it to be. So, knowing what you want for yourself, I think that's the best way to know what you want out of the relationship, know what you're willing to deal with, know what you're willing to put up with. But in the same token, um, you understand what you're capable of giving. You understand what you're capable of offering. Um, I think, just to me, that's important on having self love. But then when it comes to having love within another black woman, that's just as important. Um, because I know plenty of black women that I've happened to come across throughout the years that were good women, and they would say, "I want to be with a black man," but they're too this or they're too that or they're too this or they're too that. And the one thing I always say is sometimes you got to find what works for you. You got to sometimes step back and look at your surroundings, look at your environment, and know what you want when you go to look for somebody, and know when to say, nah, maybe this person isn't for me, and then keep looking. I'm like, I feel like there's a black woman for every black man that's on this planet. Um, but again, I feel like self love. Once you understand you'll be able to understand what you want. You, excuse me, what you want, what you're willing to deal with, so on and so forth, and be able to stand on your morals and principles. So when it comes to love and it comes to relationships, I feel self love is first before any and everything else.
I say.
Okay. Yes. So your last statement is love can solve anything.
Uh, self love can solve
Self
anything.
love.
Uh, yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for your perspective. Next, we have Mama Earth. Peace and blessings. Welcome.
Peace and blessings to and excuse me for my tardiness, but I just left a very powerful leadership meeting, and I wanted to catch you before you came off, um,
Yes.
so that I will be on topic. Can you? Because I'm just coming in. Could you tell
Yes.
me what exactly? Okay.
Sure. We were talking about the state of our relationships, how we deal with one another, how fast relationships turn in arguments turn into more than an argument. It's supposed to be a conversation. It turns into this huge argument. People are calling each other out of their names and whatnot. And it seems to be a range of ages, not so much the older people, even though in their relationships, it seems like a lot more infidelity is going on and mistrust and things like that. The younger people that I've been involved with, they are like a range of ages. It's kind of normal what they're going through, but it's still a lot more animated and volatile than it really needs to be. So, you know, on the outside looking in, we're trying to figure out where are we with our
Yes.
relationships out here. Yes.
First, first and foremost, we have to start with the very core of why relationships are in the current state that they're in. It was strategically planned for our people not to be able to come together, even in their household. So the seed of separations was planted during slavery when the husband was being pulled away from the wife and sold. The th- it was a strategy or a plan to keep us from growing and developing as a strong household by during the 70s when you couldn't have your man at your house so that you can get um, uh, benefits. Um, so all of these things are plans that we have to, as a people, change the whole trajectory, change the whole thinking, the whole programming. We have to be reprogrammed on how to love one another in relationships, and as in being in relationships with men and women and women, men and men, children and children. We have to break the mold and rebuild it and teach each other how to love each other effectively. First of all, we don't trust one another because that was a mindset that was set for us not to trust one another, to be conniving to one another. That was all of it extended from slavery. Slavery did a job on our people. And so we now have to break those molds and rebuild back together again, meaning relationships, but a trust, all of that. And as far as husband and wife or spouses, when we learn to properly love one another, that would be the first step. We don't know how to love one another. First of all, our love, falling in love, is visual, not mental. I mean, what we see, we want, and sometimes what we see, we want ain't good, and it's not healthy. So, in my dating world, I'm more so looking for that brother that's willing to do the healing work with themselves first before even concentrating on building a deeper relationship with me, because hurt people have a tendency to hurt people. And two people who are hurt or have dealing with trauma in their lives and coming together is only going to be toxic and traumatic. So in order to properly love one another or to build a relationship with one another, you got to do the healing work first. First, we have to do the healing work within ourselves. Then we have to do the healing work as a relationship, because relationship is a partnership, like a business. So but you signed on this partnership hopefully for the rest of your lives. And so we're going to have to be able to properly be able to disagree, properly be able to have conversations, properly be able to run a household. And without all of those tools and those equipments, that's where you see divorces, into the infidelity, and all of those things. So first we have to do the healing work within ourselves and break down the map, or pull apart the map that was set before our people, and start coming together to build a different type of framework to build that family structure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your perspective. Before I lose the thought, I just wanted to say, um, just like it was planned for us to get in this situation, and when we talk about like seeking counseling and whatnot, I think that we need to seek our elders that are successfully, having their marriages, life coaches, our own people, that we would go within to seek for our counseling, because it's like going back to them for their counseling methods. So if we have that, um everybody has a little couple or somebody that they admire or whatever. Hopefully everyone has that in their life. If not, then I would seek to build some sort of relationship with older people that can actually give you wisdom and life coaching, when you need it. But I just wanted to add that in because it's like going back to them for their services is another program. And we have Brother Rizzy. Thank you for for coming on and showing up for us. Peace and blessings. It's your turn.
Grand day to all. How y'all doing today? How y'all doing today?
Good, good.
Peace.
Peace. I mean, well, my whole take on
Salute,
it is
salute.
like, how you doing today, brother? My whole take on it is basically like this. Relationship wise, I just feel that yeah, we can fall in love with each other, but according to what a couple of sisters said in here, it just basically stems back to how they designed the whole thing, and it goes back to the conversation we had. What was it, last week or week before last week?
Mm-hmm.
It go back to the welfare. That's where it all started. It started with everybody looking outside, man, and like even in the Bible, I don't follow it like that. I'm more like the Ethiopian Bible, but even in that Bible, because the Bible is a science book. I tell
Mm-hmm.
people that it's got two books. You got the Bible and you got the Quran. The Bible, it tells us how to, it basically, it's a story about us. And then the Quran is the story about how we should get along with each other, how we should treat each other. So it's two books that we both need. It's a yin and a yang, but it's a fight. So it separates and you don't see the wholeness in it. So they put the welfare, all that in the since 1942. And I look back at this, right? And I say, man, y'all just doing this in 42. My aunt was born in 41. My dad was born in 46. I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking back at all this. I'm like, damn, I'm really, I was really that close. I really come from the seed that was that close to when all of this shit started. And it all made sense, like what they doing now, and they didn't want you to see the black Jesus and why they hate Putin and why they killed Gaddafi. It all makes sense. But
Mm-hmm.
they trying to bring the blackness together. We not seeing that from outside because we so distracted from what's going on inside here. So how
Mm-hmm.
can we see when we got things like Drake and Rick Ross and J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar and all of them beefing and we got the P. Diddy thing going on and we got all that going on, man. So if we got all that going on now, black people like entertainment, when are we ever truly entertained by our souls, our sole purpose of what we're supposed to be doing?
Right.
So love can't work until we start to understand how to love ourselves or see ourselves in a different light. I like to say love, but I like to say the light though. Seeing a different light because people worried about how people see them. It can't work when you're worried about how people see you because you looking in a different light. You ain't looking in the light you're supposed to walk in. So it can't work for you. It can work, but it also can't work. It can't work if you're doing everything opposite of you. That's how it can't work. It can work if you doing what you do opposite and you meet somebody doing what they doing. What it is, it's like that middle point right there. Because we both see things from different views. But what I like to tell people is it's two or more ways to see something. Things when they happen two or more ways. So 9 times out of 10, we all have the same perspectives, but it's how it's formatted. So it may be formatted different. It may be formatted higher up for somebody and lower down for somebody. But that don't mean that the momentum can't switch. What people don't understand what a moment is, it's a in that momentum. And people don't, they only get to that moment. And by the time that come, they gone. They ain't give it a chance to see what would have happened, what could have been. I think that's a lot of the problem too. We've been down so long, we've been oppressed so long. When we think we see something and we think it look like that, it really don't be that sometimes. It be that pushing through, man. Sometimes you gotta push through with a person just a little bit to get on the other side. And sometimes we don't give people that opportunity. That's a big part of it too. A lot of us are frustrated. So in our frustration, the other individual may read that and they may be wanting to tell you, all right, I've been there. Give me a minute. It is different. You know, we've been separated from what we was so long that when we coming back to it, we can't realize it. It's just a
Mm,
reflection. It's just on the other side. But it's a certain emotion. We gotta like get back to it. But by the time we leave, by the time we get from here to there, we still there mentally. It's still
mm.
we not in there.
And there's a lot
We
of factors that play into that
yeah,
mentally. You know, we can go into diet, we can go into sleep patterns, we could go into financial stress, we can go into working with children. What if you have a children that
I
has a
think two things.
disability or something, so many things that parents have to deal with, or couples before they even become parents. We're talking about just couples communicating with one
It
another.
separates
And
you.
it's like kind of like age group differences, because like once you get over 40 and you see certain things in life, it no longer affects you. You start to think about uh more heavier or deeper, issues, because it's like, why are we arguing over chores in the house when the world over here is experiencing this and that? You know what I'm saying? Like people are, you could compare that to, our communication kind of needs to fit where we are. Is it a small thing? Is it like not, is it affecting your life?
It's
You
not
know,
rational. It's either see what it is. Rationality is where logic and emotion meet. It's either logical or emotional. There's no rationality. Rational meaning to say, ah, I see the emotion in it, and I see the logic in it. You know, I see why that person, I see logically, I see why that person feels emotional about something. Or emotionally, I can see
hmm,
the logic in what's going on. People only want to look
got
through
you.
one set of eyes. They don't want to look through two set of eyes. So you only gonna see what you see.
In a lot of people, and that has a lot to do with, ego. Sister Amaka,
Yeah,
your turn.
So am I responding to the question, how do we fall in love with one another? Or
Sure.
well, to be
Yeah, I
quite
posted, that was one of the questions that I was posting for the second round. Yeah.
okay. Um quite honestly, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So quite honestly, I didn't fall in love with my husband until years later after we met.
Mm,
So when we met each other, we spent a lot of time together. I observed him. Um, Even after we got married, I wasn't in love with him. I loved him. I liked him. I trusted him. He kept his word. Um, Time and testing is not so much that I set the test, it's just that life tests you. And after I saw how committed he was, then the being in love came. So for me, I'm not speaking for nobody else, but for me, just falling in love, I'm falling in love ain't for me. I have to see what kind of person you are. I have to be able to communicate with you, vibe with you. We have to be able to get along. We have to be able to grow together. We have to be able to come up with ideas together. We have to be creative. We will. He and I was on two different pages because of the studies that I had ensued coming up. So knowing my history from the land and slave trade all the way through the different from the Jim Crow era, from the you know 60s era to the civil rights era to the eras of the 70s, 80s. So all those things I was real well versed in. Seeing how my family, my aunts and uncles, being in long relationship, because now people look at he and I, they come to us for advice. It's funny because all the aunts and uncles that I had, they're all gone.
Mm.
I can't. I don't have any older people that I can go to and sit down and say, "Well, how long? Can you give me some advice?" But during that time when I was running wild, I used to go to my aunts and uncles, and they used to always say, "When the time come." So now I'm living that time, and being in love and falling in love, it just didn't happen for me. It took some time for me, because when it took some years, and I told him one day, I said, "You know what? I'm in love with you now." And he was like, "Oh damn, I thought you'd been in love with me," but no, I wasn't. I was just vibing with you, and I loved you, and I appreciate you, and we both did each other like that. So that's the
Mm.
answer for me when it comes down to, that's how I fell in love with my husband. It took time, and it took tests, and it took me observing him, and just seeing the type of man that he was, that made me fall in love with him.
Thank you for your testimony. That's great. Actually, I think that um I can uh attest to that also. Not so much the lusty love, but it was more so the best friend type of thing. That had to happen first.
Right,
There was at least a year and a half of dating
right,
before we even moved in with one another. And
right,
like now we are like quickly shacking up, not really knowing people,
right.
don't even know their whole name or their family members and different things. And so in that kind of cocktail, I think you could end up with almost anything,
That's right.
you know, at that point.
That's
So
right.
thank you so much for adding that in.
Okay.
We have Brother Thomas.
Amen.
You there? You next. Thomas, you there? Oh, there you go. Sorry about that. You got one here that's not responding. Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hear me?
Oh, okay. Yep. There you go. It's your turn.
Okay, okay. Um, I forget what was the question again.
Well, we were responding to how do we fall in love with one another, or what's your deciding factor? That would be your own perspective.
Uh, I I think my key factor as far as falling in love would just have to be the person's personality and how they were raised. You know,
Hmm.
it is important to kind of have an understanding of how each other were raised. I think those questions are important. Um, with my lady, like I'm in her hometown, so I see how she interacts with people. I see how she interacts with her family because most of her family lives here. I see how she interacts, with her mom and how she interacts with her dad, and if anything was to happen, how she drops what she's doing to make sure that they're all right. I know people who, the same could be happening to to their family. They just, oh, okay, whatever, she'll be all right. There's no care, there's no any of that, and it makes you, kind of question. It makes you ask questions. So, when it comes to being in love with somebody, is also to me what I see. If do I see you, or are you putting your words into action? Because if you can't put your words into action, then you know, we're not going to do each other any type of good. Um, there's that, and then there's just how that person makes you feel. Like I think there's this, a special feeling. Um, when I had met my lady, we took a walk um, by this riverbank, and um, we spent time talking to each other, and things kind of moved a little fast. But after we worked through a couple of bumps, you know, we both got to see each other's character. We both got to see how we operated under pressure. Um, you know, being in love is a great thing when somebody's trying to elevate you and make you better, and you wake up saying to yourself, you know, what am I going to do today to make myself a better person? Because I feel like if your significant other can't make you a better person, little by little each day, then that's not it's not love. You just in it. You're in it for the fun, the thrill, or whatever idea that you had at the time. You know, when you met that person. So when I'm looking for somebody to be in love with, I'm looking for somebody to elevate me. I'm looking for somebody who wants me to do something better with myself each and every day. And I feel like that's to me. I I find that I find that to be love. Somebody who takes care of you, somebody who loves you, somebody who shows you a better way and makes you do things and takes you out your element. Have you doing things that you wouldn't normally do on an everyday basis. You know, what can um how can I say this? Basically, how can you make me better? And how can I help make you better? Um, and just being able to work together, be creative together. If those things can't happen, then to me, I'm not going to find love there. It's just going to be fun for the time that it's fun. So,
Mm.
um, so when it's coming to being in love, is what can we do for each other? How can we make what we went through better in our situation? And how can we move forward and create better for ourselves? What can we do for each other? Because I've been in plenty of situations where I did think it was love, or I thought I was in love, and it wasn't that. I ended up finding out it was something different, and that's when again in each breakup for me, I had to take some type of time for myself to realize what was going on. And a lot of times I realized that it was things that I needed to change. So that self healing that always helps. Um, but after the passing of my son and the woman who I'm with now, like I can't say for myself that there's nothing that I wouldn't do for this woman in any capacity because she's just that great of a woman. If I don't feel like getting up and wanting to go to work and I'm just being lazy just to fuss, she's either not gonna pay me no much of attention and be like, okay, I know we don't want to go to work. We're gonna have to because we got to make money. Pat me on the back and motivate me to get my ass to going to work. You know, when it comes to arts and crafts, and there's something that I want to create, she's looking it up. She's the first person looking it up, or the first person. Okay, well maybe you want to do this, or maybe you might want to do that, and we'll go and make a day out of going to Michael's or Hobby Lobby, or you know, Joanne Fabrics, and she might go into the store and we might, help each other because she might want to create a dress. I mean, I don't know, it's just different ways that we show our love to each other, but at the same time, she makes me better. She makes me want to get up and do better each and every day. Um, and then I'm just happy that she's a wonderful black woman. Um, I think that's the most important to me. Like she's a wonderful, great black woman that I applaud because honestly, after my baby mother and after my son, I wasn't thinking about getting with anybody. I wasn't even thinking about wanting to love anybody. And bumping into her and spending time with her, and understanding what I was looking for, and knowing what I wanted, and bumping into that person and getting exactly that and more. Um, it helped me understood that this is what love is supposed to feel like. This is what love is supposed to do for you. It's supposed to elevate you. It's supposed to make you break your ceiling. So For me, when it comes to being in love, if you can't do any of those things for me, I don't want it. That's my take on that.
Okay. Thank you for your perspective. I got a question. When we wrap it back, I'll ask that question. Right now we have Brother Raheem. Are you there?
I'm still here.
Okay, your turn.
To answer the question, how do we fall in love with one another, and what's your deciding factor? Um, to go back to what Queen Goddess said and what the brother said earlier, it is a slave traumatic syndrome where the proper relationships has been hitting and missing, where we've seen a lot of divorces, we've seen a lot of breakups, but we've seen a lot of successful marriages as well. Even our heroes like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, their lives was cut short, and Malcolm X, I would say, had a successful marriage, and Martin Luther King had a good marriage too. And he had a strong black woman on his team, on his side, and to have a strong black woman on your side, hey, that's a major divine blessing from God. And some of us brothers, including myself, you know what I mean, we F that up, you know what I'm saying? And we learn the hard way, so I would always tell the young brothers, yes, you fall in love, stay loyal, marry that woman, make her an honest woman, and go home every night. You know what I'm saying? Put your home first, and don't get caught up in nothing out here, cause it's nothing but diseases and traps and unwanted babies. Honestly, like I know one brother got 10 babies and 8 baby moms. And the last time I saw him, one of his baby moms ran upon him as he was getting him some breakfast, but not feeding the baby. So he's going through hellfire. And so I know a sister who got 8 babies, 6 different baby fathers. She's always angry, but she's always keeping on and keeping on. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And so I would always recommend, like, stay in love. Fight for your relationship. Now, if that person become toxic, they become abusive, leave them. That's man or woman. Like, leave them immediately, because it's gonna get worse, and you might end up in a casket. And even something personal. I have a brother who committed suicide, and him and his wife, they was 3 years married, got a newborn baby, just bought a house. You can smell the fresh paint. They out there in Dallas, Texas, and it came to the point where they both thought they could have their cake and eat it too. And my little brother wanted the divorce. She didn't want the divorce, but when it came to the paperwork, alimony and everything, she was gonna get everything. And so this is another reason why I say it's a spiritual war, because Shaitan got all up in his brain and basically convinced him, like, yo, you know how you can get it back? Kill yourself. And that's what he did. He couldn't take it no more. Plus, he was football for 4 years at Texas A&M, so he took a lot of concussions. He was drinking all the time, and he was under some hell's fire that I didn't know of, because he kept it to himself. And so love could definitely do that to you. You know what I mean? But the lesson I learned from it was, when you're going through things, put it on the table. You know what I'm saying? Like, talk to somebody about it. You know? And even if you go through counseling, like, men do cheat, women do cheat. Forgive them if it's possible. If it's possible, forgive them. Especially if you got these children. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. And that's what the old folks used to do. The elder couples used to do. They used to cheat too. You know what I'm saying? But they fought for their marriages. They fought for their homes. They put the children first. They put the family first. That's why there's more broken homes now. I grew up in a broken home, but my father, he was hustling in the streets, and he got caught up in the streets and started getting hooked on crack and coming home beating on my mom. So my mom left him. And so that's how my trauma, as far as broken home syndrome, began. You know, I was like 3, 4 years old, but I remember my pops doing what he had to do. You know, so, and I also remember him having a domestic violence issue with my mom one day. And I remember looking at my uncle like, "What the fuck you gonna do?" And he ain't do shit. And I still look at him that way. Like, he's still that type of dude who's just ain't gonna fight. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't stand for that. To this hour, to this second, I have a daughter and a son. Prior to my children, I don't stand for that. I don't like seeing the black woman getting beat on by the black man. So I don't mind my business when it comes to that. You know what I'm saying? Even though brothers get killed for not minding their business, that's a chance you take, because to defend the black woman, to their honor, that's something we supposed to been doing since slavery. Honestly.
Yeah.
From when they took us off the shores of Africa, there was men and women, men who could have been running to the shores. Hey, I don't care if y'all got guns. Y'all not taking my tribe. All the way to the fields, the cotton fields. You're not selling my wife. You're not raping my daughter. You're not raping my mother. You know what I'm saying? And so that traumatic effect is extremely deep. And we at the point now, 2024, April 21st, I think it is today. We even this platform right now is a healing process, even for myself. No lie.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So we continue to push it, because us black men, women, and children, we gotta heal so we can make sure our younger generation be more stronger. You know what I mean? And so we definitely gotta put the black woman first and put the black home first. You know what I mean? And I got an old lady, we argue at least 3, 4 times a week. But I can tell you the main thing that it could be the problem in the black home is money. You know what I'm saying? It's money. Like, yo, who's managing the money? Who's managing the finances? And then it comes to the trust. You know, and that's something that me, myself, I'm waking up like, you know what? Take the bread, handle it. You know, handle it. Go pay this, pay that, pay that. And then what we got left, we good. Because we're going to always be good. You know what I mean? Because when it comes to finances and managing everything, the black woman is good at that. A lot of them are. But the black man don't trust them. And that's another thing. We got to trust the black woman. The black woman got to make sure she open up that door so we could trust them. She cannot be doing disloyal shit. And excuse my language, but you know, I know we live, but she cannot be doing disloyal shit. The same way the black man, you cannot be having your cake and eating it too.
Right.
That's how a
Boundaries.
lot of brothers, the boundaries, exactly. The lines, too many lines get crossed. Too many lines get crossed. You
Yes,
know, loyalty
absolutely.
and honor starts at home. And I'm not the perfect candidate to sit back and say this. I've been through, I know, I'm telling you straight up. I had a good woman. I did her dirty. You know what I mean? I was out to sea. I was in the Navy. I seen the most beautiful females out to sea. And you come back to the United States of America and you have a different perspective. And so, and the main thing is just stay loyal, stay honorable, no matter where you at. You could be miles away from your wifey or your girl, or vice versa. You away from your man. Stay loyal. You know what I mean? Don't let nothing get in between you at all. Have children, get
Absolutely.
married, and let's have more successful black marriages. That's what black excellence is to me. That's black generational wealth. You know,
Very true.
and get some land and acres and build institutions and group economics. And that's all I gotta say. Salute.
Thank you so much for your perspective. We're going to move through to Mama Earth. We're going to make sure we give everybody their, times to speak. So we're going in order. Next is Mama Earth, and then we got Brother Rizzy. I think she's on pause. Mama Earth, you there? Uh-oh. Did she drop off? Let me see. Yeah, she dropped off. Okay, so she'll come back on. Brother Rizzy, you're up. Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
You're on mute. Yeah,
yeah. I
there you
had
go.
had to put my mic back in.
Yes.
Well, I mean, y'all got a lot of good points. Pretty much a lot of stuff that he said. Love works both ways from the male and the female perspective. You know, I mean, the trusting part, yeah, with the money, the finances, and I think marriage. I mean, marriage, man, that word is a crazy word, and I think it needs to be redefined. And I
Hmm.
think people need to know that marriage doesn't start with the paperwork. It actually starts when you have sexual intercourse with the individual. Matter of fact, it
Mm-hmm.
starts before that. It actually starts with the intellect, the verbal intellect. Why you think they call it sexual harassment when you say something to somebody? Because you engage in a kind of,
It's when you make that commitment connection
yeah,
in
in
marriage.
intimacy. You engaging in a kind of intimacy. So it because the verbal gives off the thought, and then the thought gives off the physical. So it starts verbally, then it starts physically. So it starts mentally. Like
Mm-hmm.
some of the sisters were saying, wasn't they had love for a brother, but they wasn't in love because they looking at everything,
Mm-hmm.
they filtering everything. So they filtering it mentally, and then after they filter it mentally, they filtering the emotion and the physicality of everything. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just going through different filters until it hit. It's different layers until it actually hit that love layer. Where they in love. The love is there, but it's not
Right.
in as
I
yet.
believe
It's just filtering.
a lot of women work that way, I believe.
What you see, yeah, they work that way. It's understood. And I think you got some brothers that actually work that way, and we misunderstood too, because like I think that after we've been hurt so much, some people
Mm-hmm.
learn how to love differently. It ain't that they stop loving, they just stop loving that way. They don't love that way anymore. They more care about things in a different aspect, so they won't love that way anymore for the simple fact that okay, this didn't work. It was a interference in just me being me. I couldn't be myself in that aspect. I was giving away too much of myself. It wasn't being reciprocated properly. And if the love
Mm-hmm.
ain't reciprocated, then it's not real love because there's no balance. It's just something that you see, but you see it. It's not real for you. It may be real for them, but it's not real for you because it's not reciprocating in the aspect where you're creating a balance where you're actually getting something. They're actually getting something out of it. That's how
Mm-hmm.
I see it. It's missing that sometimes. And that person may not be wrong. Like the brother said earlier, there's a black woman for every black man, and there's a black man for every black woman. I feel that way
Mm-hmm.
too.
Yes, sir.
And like, and I say it in that aspect because things got to be reciprocated. And if it's not reciprocated it sometimes it's reciprocated, and like we reciprocate things nowadays in society when it comes to violence. That's well reciprocated, but in a positive manner, it's not reciprocated. We'll
Mm-hmm.
go back and forth with somebody on some violent shit, but on a positive note, it's more challenging. You challenge that person depending on who the person is or the level of vibration frequency they on. You're challenging that person.
Wow.
A
I
lot of people
actually,
don't like to see that. Go ahead.
yeah, especially in public, it's like even me, I stand up for myself in a conversation, but the thing is,
As you should.
in public, I don't react that way. You know what I'm saying? We having a private conversation. It's not the whole world's business. And I don't like when females be, out in the public, dissing the person that they're with and whatnot, or making a scene unnecessary. But there are a lot of, I would say, like the younger women, just because, not saying that they weren't raised right, because that puts their mothers in my age group. And the main
But
thing is they have a mind of their own. Like, I have one daughter. I instilled all these things in her, but she still had a mind of her own and still went and did whatever she wanted to do. Now that life is taking a process, she has the opportunity to come back and say, yeah, you did say, this, or you taught me that, but I had to experience it myself. A lot of people
she
will come
didn't
out and
she
say
didn't
that.
see
You
it.
know what I'm
She
saying?
didn't see what you were saying, so she didn't find like she found
Until
your
she
info
experienced it.
propaganda at the moment until she experienced it. Then she learned
Right.
how to
And that's
apply
the
it.
thing. Younger people nowadays are really hard headed. Soon as you
But can
give
I
them
say
the
something to that?
wisdom, they definitely do the opposite thing a lot of the times.
Let me say something to
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
I've been doing a lot of studying, I mean, I'm gonna say some stuff, and like I can't even tell this individual this. Like my aunt was born 1941. Like
Hmm.
I was saying, she was born 1941. This is my dad's sister. This woman is got to be 70 odd years old. So I'm gonna put it this way: my grandma, which is my dad's mom, died having my dad. So she didn't get raised by her mom.
Right.
This woman is in her 70s. She lives a double life. She still lives a double life, and the two individuals know about each other. One lives on one island, the other lives on the other island. This is
Mm.
crazy. My aunt still lives like that, but she
Oh,
don't
you
know I
mean
know
she
what she
has
was.
two men in her life?
Yes,
Mm,
yes.
interesting.
One of them is her business partner, but she don't think like I'm at the point where I won't say anything because you're at that age where I don't know how your heart works.
Right.
They think that's normal to them. I might say something, you might, I don't know. I don't want to be the reason. I don't want to be the cause of that. But what
Right.
I'm saying is, my aunt is that age, right? And she was doing other things in New York at a certain age. She was a call girl. She don't know I know
Mm,
all of this. My sister done ran it down. So I'm mature enough. I'm giving the story. I'm mature enough. I'm saying, man, what she was doing, man, she hasn't changed her mental. That it blows
mm,
my mind. Like, yeah, she's been a successful businesswoman, but she doesn't have past a seventh grade education.
mhm,
And she still lives that way. It is crazy. And, like, I'm telling her certain things about what she's doing because she did something with the family house. So right now, me and her, we not on good terms.
mhm.
She's renting out the family house to people that's not family. You got people in there that don't even belong. My grandfather was alive. He would be turning over in his grave right now. Man, he
Yeah,
is. If he was alive, he'd be mad right now.
I have family members that's doing that too with the land that got, left to them, or they swindled it out of it because they wasn't the only first cousin. There's a group of cousins, but somehow or another everything got in her name, but nobody, we haven't fought her on it or anything.
And I
You know,
just said that to
karma's
say,
gonna deal with that situation
I just said that to
because
show
it
you that it's
definitely is
not all the
family
young
land.
girls too. You got women and older women that still living from how they lived when they were
Absolutely
younger,
right.
all the way up to this time, and it blows my
I
mind
know
because
a
it's my
couple
dad's
myself.
sister, and I'm like, damn, you gonna
Yes.
die like this? This what you telling me? You gonna die living like this?
Right. It's like you 70
Wow,
years old and still smoking crack or dust or something like that. That's like
crazy.
at that age, that's crazy.
You can't. I feel like some of our people. Can I be real honest? I
Sure.
feel that it's some of our people, they're so deep in that sleep that they're gonna have to reincarnate. They ain't gonna be able to make it to do what they need to do, or maybe that is what they're here to do in this lifetime. Some of them are
Interesting.
actually here to do that
Interesting.
because,
And we have to realize that too, because when you're
yeah,
doing this conscious work and whatnot, you want to see everybody saved, but the reality is you
It
know.
got to be a balance. You can't. Sometimes we here to learn from them people. Maybe sometimes they're going through what they going through. Is you killing two birds with one stone. They going through
Mm,
what they going through for their experience, and they're also going through that so we can learn from them. Because they may be
hmm.
in our life for a period of time, and we may
Right.
see them do this to this person, that person, and the next person, and we just eventually learn. That's just how they
True.
are.
Yes. It's
It's
just
to
that we
learn.
have to have boundaries as to for yourself. So Brother Thomas talked about self-love. And I find that in relationships, one on one, you test each other. You know, it's like me, I'm the type of person that if I'm thinking about dating you and that's the deal, then we got to lay certain things down on the table right from the jump. Like, I don't do this, that, and the other. Matter of fact, and I don't want to date somebody else that, like, it's like I'm a non smoker. I don't really want to date a guy that smokes cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? Even though I'm not a
Right,
judgmental person, I just know that it's just not an equal thing because I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? If I'm a smoker, then we match.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of different things. Like,
It don't
you
match
know,
your energy, the vibration of it.
right.
Yeah,
And you can live together and have your own differences and whatnot. Like my eating patterns is very different from my husband's. He does him and I do me, and we're both cool with that. But there's a lot of things that we both like together, which is great. But we don't force each other to try to move over to my world and this and that. It's like,
right,
yes, we're together, but you do have your own certain yourself. Like my spiritual life is more than 50% of my activity, and my interest in where I'm spending my time, and that's actually my profession is in that also. So I'm actually making money with my time. But the thing is, whatever he does, that's what he does. As long as you bringing home what you need to do, your profession is your profession, you know under a boundary. Everybody's legal and whatnot, but I'm just saying, what you do could be 1,000 times different than what I do, you know, but we
right.
could still maintain, your individuality. It's like sometimes when people get married, whoever the stronger, let's see, energy that
It's
would
more
end up. This
dominant.
is Mama Earth. Yeah, that would end up. Peace, Mama Earths. Went into Brother Rizzy, so we'll come back around to you. But it's just like, as I was saying, it's just like you still have to have your own individual self, because there's things that you're supposed to be destined to be in your life that has nothing
Right.
to do with your spouse or whatever. And they have to have that respect that, because sometimes, let's just face it, a man can really over overpower a woman to where her whole entire life is into him and the kids, and she never gets to find out who
Be
she is,
herself.
explore,
Right.
or anything like that. And let's face it, our older women did that back in the 30s, 40s, 20s, or whatever.
But
That was
that's the
their life.
thing.
They didn't have, a lot
They
of them
made
did,
that
but they had to fight
sacrifice.
for it, right? And they were
They
looked
made that
at
sacrifice
differently.
for the women in the, put it this way. The women in the 30s and the 40s made that sacrifice for the women in the 50s and 60s not to do that. And then
True.
it just goes on and on.
Yeah,
But
each
what
decade
played a
we were getting
role,
freer and freer.
yeah, but what played a role in it is the
Hey,
oppression. The
remember we had to
oppressions would
burn our
stop it.
bras and whatnot to vote. We had to take off our bras and burn them to vote. Like, come on now. We really was working hard for our rights out there with men. And it's crazy. Who in the hell
I
told
think they
them that
set I
they
think they
had that
set
type
y'all
of
up
power
though.
over another human being? Like they really was um, headstrong about them being the dominant, ones and whatnot. Like the whole patriarchy is interesting. I think there's a
They set
movie
us
out
up.
now about
They
it.
set us up. They did. Because what
Absolutely.
happened is
In more
that
than
was
one
supposed to be
way.
for the white women. And they said, oh, okay, the black women want in. This is a perfect way to separate them. It
Mm,
wasn't for y'all.
that's true. That's true. I guess a lot of black women did jump on the bandwagon because they said if the white woman has the same gripe, then perhaps together we could make more progress or whatever. And they did, but it still was, prejudice. But in a lot of areas we actually did work together,
I mean,
interesting
besides
during those
domestic
times.
violence in the past, what's the problem with the black woman being at home while the black man go provide and protect? I don't think there's anything wrong with
Actually,
that from modern day
it's
to
nothing
today.
wrong with it, but it actually has to be what she wants to do. And if they both want to work, then they both have to agree on how the daycare is going to work. Sometimes the woman has the capacity to make more money and the man will volunteer to stay home. And then he can find creativity to make money some kind of way from home. You know, there's I would rather stay home with my children
Right,
and be
right,
challenged with a
right.
way to make this computer pay me some money.
And
That's
that's
what
the
these
same way
things are
I would
for.
prefer. I would prefer the black woman to stay home or either work abroad, like somewhere close to home, or running a business, because we don't want them in this corporate world dealing with the animals. There's a black woman
Okay.
who just committed suicide in the college at the college campus. I believe it was in Tennessee, if I'm mistaken. Her
Mm,
the corporate company, the corporate educated professors was putting pressure on her, and she was like the president. You know what I'm saying? I don't have the information on hand, but she's like the president of the college campus, and she committed suicide. And so that's what's happening now.
Mm.
The black woman is definitely becoming more successful in the corporate America. Fuck corporate America. We want
Exactly.
our
So hold
own
on.
Black Wall Street. We want them running businesses. We want
Exactly.
them
So what we
raising
doing to
our
get
children
that?
as well.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. You right,
okay.
brother. We gotta
So
stop
we
working
are
for these six ether people. We do.
That's
And that,
true. And a
it's
lot
easy.
of us
It's
do
easier.
prefer.
It's harder. It's easier said than done. Don't get me wrong. I
Right.
work a
That part.
corporate job. We all working. You know what I'm saying? But we don't want the next generation to be still dealing with this. Like we want our own Black Wall Street so we could contribute to the Fortune 500 index. I watch this shit every day, and this bunch of white companies, Jewish companies, Chinese companies. We want at least 50% of this shit. Because we built America. We used to be the stock at Wall Street. So no,
So
True.
fuck
that's
corporate
why we
America.
don't even need to get with them. What we need to do, separate from them, take all our stuff, and go where we need to go, and they're gonna have to follow eventually because we make up 75% of that.
We
Let's
ain't
go
going
Okay.
forward
nowhere.
out of this.
So
We ain't
this
going
so what
nowhere.
we're gonna do is we're gonna like keep it under what we're speaking about so we can move
Right, right.
into that conversation after we let Mama Earth, because she missed her chance when she got kicked off. So we'll let her respond to the love situation and then we'll move into how economics messes with our relationships. Go ahead, Mama Earth. Yes. How and our preference, you know.
So either way,
Mm.
it sounds the same, and that could make her feel unworthy, or feel less than, because he considers her fat, not fat, like shapely. So communications is, properly being able to communicate is also the foundation of loving one another, forgiving one another, realizing that we are, we're not infallible, and that we do make mistakes, and we may say things the wrong way, or we may do things that that other person did not appreciate. So to communicate that is necessary, because we don't know what each other is thinking. We can only know what you allow us to know. And as I said earlier, that healing is necessary in order to have a good relationship. That those two who are coming together have to do the necessary healing. That's the I see falling in love and or loving on each other can only happen if we effectively be able to communicate, and self-love is necessary.
Yes,
That's it.
self-love. That actually came up about maybe 7 times here. Everyone had their version of it, but absolutely self-love, because you know how you want to be treated, then you know how
Hmm.
to treat others, you know. So, and then you know it, people that love themselves, it shows, you know, from the outside in. And I always wonder, like, I used to see certain women, they always got all the nails done, the hair is done, they clothes, they look great every day and whatnot. And I said to myself, for me to do that, it takes me about maybe an hour and a half or so. I got to put on, you know, the face stuff and everything. And it's just some wives that have to look a certain way every day. They feel like, to, you know, please their husbands, the ones that, you know, they always at the beautician or they this and that. Sometimes it's not always their job. Even if they was staying at home, they still be up, dressed early, this, that, you know, got everything going. And you find out it's all because that's what he likes, you know. And I just feel like a lot of women, once they get into a relationship, they have to, you know, they can't be themselves, or room to grow or change. You know, it's kind of like you got to be the same Sex Pistol you was when they first got together. You know, it's like maybe 5 years later, sex isn't what it was when we first got together and whatnot. And a lot of times that is held so high in the relationship, you know, rather than the actual things, finances, if you have kids, what is their state and mentality, just your home period, you know. uh so there are a lot more things to worry about than just that. And it seems like I wanted to ask the guys, on a list of 1 to 5, where is that the importance of, you know, the sex life, where does that lead with you guys, is what I wanted to ask the men.
5.
Are y'all there? You said it, 5 is the most important, and 1
No, it's
is,
not the
you know,
most important. I thought you said what's the rating, but like,
yeah, from
is
1 to
sex
5,
important
what
in
would
the?
be your level of importance?
I mean, I wouldn't even say it's called sex. I would say when you're in a relationship or you're married to that woman, or that
The
woman is
act
married to
of
that man.
whatever.
Yeah, like, I
True.
mean,
Making love, okay, let's just call it that.
all right, making
On a
love. You know what I'm
scale of
saying?
1 to
Making love.
5,
Exactly.
what
It's it's
is the
it's a bond.
importance?
It's a bond. It's a chemical bond at that. That's why it's very sacred, because it's very
But
sacred.
okay,
Like,
so let me, explain what the question again. So the question is, however you see it, right? The performance on a level of on a relationship level of 1 to 5, how important is the performance to you as a man in your relationship? To, say that you're satisfied on a level of 1 to 5.
Okay.
Yeah. What
I
is,
understand that
what's
part. All right.
your requirements?
I
That's
mean,
all.
me personally, and I can't speak for no man on this earth but me. Um, I'm simple, so she ain't got to do much. You know what I mean? I'll get the job done, and my job is to satisfy her. Like I get more pleasure in satisfying her. You know what I'm saying? And that's with any woman I've been with in my past period. Like I get more satisfaction satisfying her. So it's not difficult to please a brother like myself. And we're gonna leave that like that. All right.
Okay.
But making love is
All
very
right.
important in a
Cool. I'm gonna get
relationship.
back to that. I'll get back to that.
Mhm.
So, Sister Amaka, she has to leave out, and so I'm gonna go ahead and let her close out with her perspective, and then we'll jump back in.
Okay, so you want me to answer the question about what's the number 1 to 5, 1 to 10?
Sure. Yeah, I think the women need to answer the question also.
Uh, um, well, it's necessary. So I say I'm gonna say 5 for you. I mean, what's the highest number? 1 to 5 or 1 to 10?
5,
Okay.
1
Um,
to 5. Yeah.
the
Level of
importance.
importance in a
Level.
relationship. That it has to be on point. Yes, you got to be satisfied with the performance.
Definitely. Oh, definitely. Um, three, three.
3.
It's not. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio. I don't fall in line. I'm not like
So
I'm
am
not like
I.
a fanatic. You already know. So I'm not like a.
Woohoo, Scorpios, we winning. There you go.
So hold up. I'm not
Vote
like
for me.
I'm not like a fanatic. You know what I mean? But I'm getting older now, so with both of us, I'm a Scorpio, he Capricorn, but it's necessary, but it's not the first. When you're younger, your body goes through different changes from the, from we already know what it is, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like three. I mean, like we don't trip. But sometimes I be tired. He come up from work. We have to set time for it. Sometimes it's spontaneous, but it's not like it don't rule or dominate. We can live with it, we can live without it. That's how I feel about it. If he got into an accident and he wasn't able to satisfy me, I know what to do, and vice versa. But we're going to keep each other happy, whatever we have to do. And it doesn't always have to be straight sex. It can be, long as we're satisfying each other. There's a whole lot of ways you can satisfy somebody. So
That's
like you
true.
point in your head. So there's a whole lot of ways to satisfy somebody. So the importance is keeping
Because
each
that's
other happy.
right. You true.
Whatever we
That's
got to
true
do,
what you said. That's
you know,
very true.
whatever we got to do. Look, y'all,
Absolutely.
I gotta get ready to roll out. My husband waiting for me.
Yes. Thank you so
Um,
much, Amika, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Peace to everybody. Let me know if you need me to be on
Peace,
next.
sister.
Peace,
Okay.
Yes,
peace. I say
absolutely.
black power.
Okay.
Absolutely. Peace. Thanks so much for coming.
All right.
I'll, all right. I'll be talking to you soon.
Okay.
You can you can press your button. There we go. All right. Thank you to Sister Amika for her presence. That was great. We have, let's see, next up on the panel, where we had Brother Raheem. Let's see, is Black Service Podcast there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Would you like to go next to answer the question, the 1 to 5?
Um, I'll say 3.
3, and
Um,
then just give
yeah.
your perspective on that.
I mean, it's important, but I don't think it's everything. Um, I feel it is something that's sacred. It's not something that you just do all the time. But then at the same time, you have your spontaneous moments, things of that nature. But in the same token, um, there's more than one way to skin a cat. So, um, you know, being intimate, I don't have to be sexual to be intimate with you. And that's you know that's my perspective on it.
All right. So we got 2 3s. Mama Earth, are you there? I think you're on mute. Peace, Mama
Yeah, I'm
Earth.
here. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
here.
All right. You're next. 1 to 5.
I agree 3 because life can happen. I was in a relationship where life happened, whereas though the performance was either rare or now and then, but we still were in a committed relationship. So you have to be able to fluctuate between life happening. So the most important part of a relationship is honor and loving one another, and in loving each other. If life happens, you just because your partner is not able to perform, as the sister said, there's other ways to please each other, and it does not have to be physical. Sex is mental anyway, so you can stimulate one another mentally. And that is and if anyone was to say that is easy, then they would be lying. It's a life adjustment to have a spouse that you cannot be intimate with in that way. So, and if you truly love that person, and if you truly devoted to that person, then you can change the way that you please each other. Whether it doesn't have to be physical, it could be spiritually, or it could be mental stimulation. So I don't think that's the great part of having a relationship, though it is a part that you know a lot of people get stuck on, and it's a and there's a lot of people, if their partner is not able to perform or physically, they leave that spouse, or that partner. But 3 is my answer as well.
Awesome. Awesome. So we got 4 3s. Did I give everybody else a chance to go before I go? What about in the chat? You guys can answer in the chat what you think. And so I'm going to go with, I was thinking about it. I'm torn between 2 and 3.
3.5,
Not
4 for
that
me.
that's the level. I mean, we're talking about the level of importance because I'm a Scorpio too. And so the stereotype is that we have this insatiable appetite and whatnot. And I was having a conversation with my daughter because she's a Capricorn. And I actually grew up. My father was a Scorpio, my mother was a Capricorn. And they always were very loving towards one another and whatnot, but in like a decent way. So when I say between 2 and 3, I'm not saying that the affection isn't there. Like that's a 5. I'm way more affectionate. But my thing is, I'm kind of more focused on what we need to do. Like, because it's my pockets is funny. I'm not feeling all that sexual personally. It's just because that's my level
Shit.
of importance.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of men I find are affected that way also. Like there's a lot of impotence that happens when you're in a financial bond, and you're a male or whatever, or you got the stress on you. So I find that impotence is on the rise, but the thing is, it's not because it's almost abused in a way. It's like, you got to have it 2 3 4 times a week and all of this stuff. Well, we don't need to put that type of pressure on each other. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of things that we need to be doing rather than thinking about that. But I would say, as far as affection, the actual act, of course, you got to keep a man, you got to keep him, hook him up rather, because he might explode. I heard with the men, if they don't get it, then they might explode. So physically, they have to be taken care of. And the thing is, when you're married, that's mainly the agreement. You agree to make sure the man is taken care of. And that's mainly like, of course, the woman, she gets hers, but it's just like it's probably just the Western mindset. But when you look at it, it really is around a three, you know. So and that's when your pockets is straight. If your lights are about to be turned off at any second, it's kind of hard to be, intimate like that. But affectionate, yes. We're not gonna take and put our stresses on one another and take it out on one another. But yeah, like sometimes I just want to get in the bed and finish reading my book. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like we feel each other's energy. Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes maybe if he was working on the car doing something, he might be tired. And it could be me that's in the mood. But I'll look at him and say, oh, wow, yeah, he's tired another time. And we're good. But so many relationships can't even get past that. And then the guy ends up stepping out instead of talking to his woman. you know a lot of infidelity kind of happens that way. And I think a lot of times the men are just thinking about the physical scientific part of it. They gotta get released, and it's not so much you know anything else besides that. It's like a very lower chakra thinking. But I do like find that as a form of immaturity, and not just men and women also. It's just
Yeah.
like you might not get none for 2 weeks, and it might be cool. It might not be no beef. It's just a time. You know what I'm saying? And you just basically gotta know your partner and feel your partner and respect their wishes. As a female, sometimes I don't want to be bothered for like 2 weeks. Doesn't mean I'm not affectionate. I just don't, you know, it's like not on my mind to really think about. But yeah, not saying that, there's a problem or anything, but it's just that I feel certain things need to be taken care of. I feel like it's
Finances, finances does play a major
it's
role
not
in the
healthy. You know what I'm
bedroom.
saying? Your
It's not
kids
healthy.
didn't
I
eat for the
definitely
night.
agree.
You in there screwing your
Definitely agree.
husband. Your family didn't eat, or like, how does that go?
That's
But
fact.
anyway,
That's
certain
facts.
things like that is how I think. You know what I'm saying? It's like a order type of thing. Maybe I should have been a Libra,
That's fact. When the money
but
good, when the money
I'm a
good, the
Scorpio
bills
with Libra
paid, everything
tendencies.
cool.
Yeah, I'm like a kind of woman where my house needs to be clean. Not to say that that's a factor for me to be intimate with my husband, but it's just that things need to be in damn order. And I'm just like that,
Right.
and it's always worked for me in
Ain't
my
that ain't nothing
household.
wrong with that. That's very honorable. That's very honorable. Very, very
Thank you.
honorable.
'Cause sometimes I feel like a tyrant. I really hold up my boundaries, but it works. You know, it
Now
definitely
I
works.
think one out of three men go through that every day. Especially when your
Wow.
money ain't right or your money funny. I mean, I don't care if the man married, he got a girlfriend, or he been in a relationship for a minute. There's females who do exactly just that, which is good because it makes that man go out there and get him more, and it makes him, like they say in the Bible, you want your home to be abundant. You know what I'm saying? You want to triple your worth, and so that I believe that definitely turns a woman on when the man is successful. He's taking care of her. You know what I'm saying? Like he's providing for her. So that's definitely very powerful. Very powerful. You got to take care of that woman. It's just not just by sex.
Absolutely.
It's mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it might not be
Yes.
easy, but it's a battle. So and all the black and
Yes.
a
And
lot
I
of
feel
black
like,
women want to go ahead. I'm sorry.
sorry,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. No,
I
finish
mean,
your.
a lot of black women just want a man to provide for them. You know what I'm saying? The average black woman, they want a man to provide for them, protect them, and they go provide. They do what they do. They make their money, but everybody bring it to the table, and so it's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that.
That's right. And then a lot of women nowadays, literally, it's not nice to say because I love my black brothers, but a lot of them are taking advantage of women. And the women is thinking they trying to get with them, that they already got a home and a family. But instead of them getting out there making their money another way, they'll get with another woman, with the intentions on getting her money. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? To take it back to his family or whatever. And I that's another conversation for another time. But what's going on with the man when he does that? That's going to be, we'll talk about that another time. But women definitely, they have to look out for themselves, and so do men, because it's being pushed now that don't even look at me if you don't have a certain amount of money in your pocket, or you can't, don't take me to Applebee's for no date and whatnot. you know there's a lot of things being pushed on our community that is affecting how relationships are handled. Mama Earth, did you have something you wanted to say?
No, I'm listening. I'm just listening. Yeah, I
Okay.
keep losing signal for some reason. I don't know what's going on over here.
Yes, there's also another passage in the Bible that says a man that doesn't work doesn't eat, right? So I guess he doesn't get the woman is nothing. So they actually have been pushing the rhetoric that a man is to buy the woman or fancy her with his money or whatever. Or he shouldn't come to a woman empty-handed. Um is what it looks like the custom was.
So
You're not gonna court a woman and show up with nothing for her.
what the question is for me is how do we get back to where we at if we stuck in this oppressive phase where people use it in the
Right.
oppressive manner instead of the proper manner? That's the
First steps
problem
on
right there.
moving out of the wrong mindset. Like what would be the first step us as a community would do in our relationships? Let's just start there.
Eating the way we eat, start planting. We have dates in the garden. We have dates about how to garden and how to plant, and that kind of stuff is needed. Dates on how to produce our own food so we don't go out and get what they giving us. And we know
That's
what's
an
coming out our
idea.
garden. That's a
Go to a
date
date,
because you
go on
it's
a date to learn how to plant some stuff. So that's on the
yeah.
woman to think about, or whoever's planning the date. That's a different thing, and I think
They
that's
both
great.
could think about it. It could come from either or. And I don't see where it
Right.
should be a disagreement because it's actually you killing two birds with one stone. You're going on a date and you learning something. So you're giving
Yeah,
back.
that's true. And you
It's
can
being a
actually
humanitarian too.
do something together. It doesn't have to be planted outside. If you had a pot, you
Right.
could plant it together and watch it grow.
And it don't
And
cost nothing. It's
your
very cheap.
relationship, right? But check this out. Your relationship could grow with the plant. And
Right.
so
That
y'all are
too.
both
Right, right.
learning,
I like that.
y'all
Right,
are both
right,
learning.
right.
The plant needs
Definitely.
sun, it needs love. And yeah, the more y'all talk to it and stuff like that,
Yeah.
the better
Plants
it
can
grows.
feel
And so
love.
is the
A planet
relationship.
grow from how you talk to it exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
And so does relationships. If you think about it, females,
AKA life is symbolic
we
to
want to be
nature. I
talked
always tell
to.
people that.
Yeah. We want to be
Like
talked
like the
to. We
symbolic
want
to
to
nature. Absolutely.
be nourished and whatnot. And in turn, we nourish also. But yeah, we
Right.
definitely we need that. And that's a great date example. Something
I think
different.
that's how we
Right.
should rebuild as people. We should start going on dates and teaching each other different things that we didn't know, learning our history, learning what we used to do before,
Putting
and
the
getting
phones
back to
down
that.
too.
A date at the
Yeah,
museum.
that
Most
include you ain't gonna have
museums.
no time to use the phone if you're doing that. Put the phone on
Yep.
mute.
Yep.
You ain't got no time to use the phone.
Yep.
You're too busy doing that. Your hands occupied. You occupied
Yep.
mentally and physically. You stimulating on both levels. You ain't got no time to be thinking about a phone. And if you do that,
Yeah.
mean you ain't
Yep.
focusing. You ain't all the way in.
Plus a lot of things that you
Exactly.
can do. The nice things, they ask you to turn your phone off.
Oh, they
different
do. They
things.
definitely do.
Go see shows together. Like it's not like if you're an alpha male or whatever, it's not sissified to take your woman to a show. You know,
That's
y'all
facts.
probably don't
That's
like
facts.
ballets, but
Facts.
y'all don't like
Nah,
ballets,
take it
but
to a
like the
Lion
shows.
King
See,
show or
we got
something.
to get away from that alpha male stuff,
Lion
man.
King show.
The reason I say we got to get away from that is because we both got masculine and feminine in us. So
Right,
if you understand that we got both of them in us, you want to create a balance. You don't want one to be too high and one to be too low. You want them to be balanced in harmony.
right.
Yep.
Too much of something is
That's true.
They
harmful.
got
It's full of harmony.
they got
Yep.
the wine and paint exhibit sometimes.
Yes. Now, say, would you
Yeah,
go
paint
on a
exhibits are
date to
fire,
like a
man.
paint
Those
and
are
sip or
definitely
something like
fire.
that?
I
Yeah.
love that. I did that
And
in
you know
Toledo,
what? I
Ohio.
have never
I went to
seen
the,
a
the paint
couple
I
museum.
just
sip.
can't paint, so I'll be
Let me write
wasting my
that down.
time, man. I'll be sipping more of the wine than painting, but it's still
No,
cool.
actually, a lot of the
And
times
wine
it's like
tasting is good
traced
too.
out
Go
or
out on wine
whatever,
tasting
or you
dates.
could,
Yeah,
start it like
going
that.
to the
But
vineyards. Yeah, they got
Yeah.
yeah, I actually
yeah,
that's what they do. It's called paint and sip. But I've never
paint the
seen them
sip.
Oh,
do
Yeah,
paint with a
couples. So
twist.
I know we're saying
Yeah,
it
we
on
see
here and
people
we're
in there
live.
yeah,
So if
sipping and
someone
doing the
steals our
painting.
thing, we'll
Yeah.
know. But couples
exactly.
paint and sip is something nice too.
It's very
Yeah, I
nice.
think we need to
I've
start
done that.
having more fun together. Right.
It's very
Put the
nice.
sex on the
It's
back
fun.
burner and have fun with each other.
And take your
That's right.
family to the gun ranges and teach them how to shoot and hunt and fish
Waiting for you to say
and
that.
learn how to
That
train
what he said?
That's
outside. All right,
Teach them how to use bow and arrows
that's
too, man. The
definitely an
bow and
got a
arrows
bow
option.
gonna
and
come in
arrows. They
handy.
got like
Yeah,
because we live in the times where the
that
lights
too.
might come off. The lights might be off permanently one day. You know
Nature
what I'm
walks,
saying?
how to walk through the woods by yourselves.
Exactly. Exactly.
Seriously, I actually would be
Dig
messed
up
up if I had to walk through the
foxholes.
woods barefooted right now. I am not used to nothing on my feet like that. So me and the barefoot
No.
thing is not working. But
And if the lights cut off one day,
yeah.
nationwide, we all gonna be outside. So we got to make sure we have proper training.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
true.
Absolutely. I
Absolutely.
agree with
And
you, brother.
self-defense. Yep.
Self defense is
Self-defense training is
mandatory.
also.
Cause
Yes.
we could be at Painted Twist and some old nut walk into the building. You know what I'm saying? We gotta handle that. You know what I mean? We could be at the gardens and some old
Yes.
Klansmen want to
Always
hate
gotta
on
have
the black
security.
excellence we doing. We gotta handle that. So the black woman definitely gotta
Yep.
defend herself too. You know what I'm
We
saying? And
always
we gotta
have to
teach our
worry about
children that
that.
too. Yep. Especially in
That's
this the
true.
daytime. And
Another thing is when we go through issues with one another, we have to let bygones be bygones. Forgiveness. Mama Earth talked about forgiveness and communication. Um, yes, that's a big thing, especially for younger couples. Y'all tend to bring up old stuff in new arguments and whatnot. And then that really makes things get volatile. And it only means that you weren't satisfied with whatever solution y'all came up with last time it popped up, you know. So I'm seeing that when younger people have their arguments or whatever, they tend to bring up old stuff that they already dealt with and they put that into the new argument, and that just makes everything more volatile. So when you say you forgive something or you moved on from it, make sure that's what you've done. You definitely are not helping by bringing up older things, even as an example. If you say you, of course, we have our memories, and it really is hard to forget. But the forgiveness part means you're not gonna bring it up and throw it in that person's face. And sometimes we trigger each other to the point where there's nothing else to say but make an attack on their physicality. Like we talked about the FAT and the BITCH and the comments about hair, and there's certain things that really mess up a relationship for good when you say it to a black woman, even if she remains to be with you. She really is thinking about these things for a long time. When you make comments about her body, her hair, and whatever physicality, physical imperfection that you may think she has. I find that men do it more often to women, but I'm not a man, so I don't know your experience. So you guys would have to weigh in on that one. But my experience is men use that when they don't have anything to say, or the woman has backed them up against the wall, so to speak, verbally, you know. And then that's when the cursing and the different name calling things start happening. When she got you, you know, or she caught you out there in some stuff or whatever. And a lot of times men's reaction to it is more volatile than just talking and fessing up to what's going on. So I'll let you guys talk about that. Rizzy, you look like you're dying to say something. You look like you're dying to comment on that one. Oh, I'm gonna let you go, Scorpio.
Out here grubbing. You see me moving my mouth grubbing. But I mean, that can go both ways. The reason I'm gonna say that is because we live in a society now where they painted a picture where they feminized a lot of things. So in them feminizing a lot of things, stuff that you would have said in the 90s, you can't just flat out say now because people have extra feelings now. They can be offended by the simplest of things. I think that part plays a whole lot in it too. So you can't really get to the originality how things should be because people have seen so much in society and they paint that portrait where they're gonna actually use a part of society to get over on you or how they feel or whatever. People play on that. And I've seen a lot of that in society. So I'm just gonna start there with that and I'm gonna stop there with it.
Okay, brother Raheem.
I agree with Brother Rizzy. Especially the elders coming from the 70s and the 60s and the 50s, they might look at us, our generation, our era, like we soft. Because we might not say the things they said in their era. They used to put their hands on the woman. That's something I definitely don't respect. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
I know in the 90s, I remember Queen Latifah, who you calling a B? And for real, like,
Mm-hmm.
I got punched in the face for calling the girl a B. And then she went and told my mama, and my mama beat me up. You know what I'm saying? And I still was
Hmm.
calling girls B's as I was growing up because some of them needed to be called that same way females would disrespect us. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
that's just what it is in our community. Does that make us tougher? Yes, that makes your skin tough because that's basically like snapping back. You're joking on somebody. But in the relationship, that gotta cease. Like that's a growing pain. You know what I'm saying? Like some people, some females want to see how they could take it with you, and some men do the same shit. You know what I mean? And it could be a little toxic. But if you love that person and y'all truly in love, y'all be making love the next hour or so. Y'all like the Queen Goddess said, forgiveness. Y'all forgive each other quick instead of taking it on days and days and arguing for days and nights and then being more traumatic. So forgiveness is quickly has to be quick within a relationship to be successful. And that's part of being in love with that person. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what? I know you ain't mean that shit, or maybe you did mean half of it, but you hurt my feelings and I hurt your feelings. But come here, give me a hug. You know what I'm saying? Like, even with the sister you had on earlier, like her father used to smack his wife on the butt. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that in a relationship. You smack that
Right.
woman on the butt, whether she got a big one or a little one. And nowadays, females doing that shit. You know what I mean? So they taking it too far. But um, it's not wrong with buttering that person up. That's what love is. You know what I mean? Because the next man gonna do it to the woman, and the next woman gonna try to do it to the man. So I would advise in any relationship you do it. You know, and that's that.
Thank you. And it's also, important to keep it up. Don't think because you've been with somebody 15, 20 years, You don't have to still have a little romance and whatnot in your life. But Mother Earth, did you want to weigh in on that one? It
Well,
was like
speaking,
towards the guys, but
yeah,
some women
that's
are
what I said.
abusive.
I said I can't speak from a male perspective, but me being a female, I
Mhm,
and a being a Pisces, I'm very affectionate and I love
mhm.
affection and I love attention.
You team
So
water. You ain't a Scorpio, but you still a water sign. Team water. That's beautiful.
yeah, so I thank you. So I love affection and I tell, when I'm dating, I say to that person, I'm very affectionate. My sister used to say that I love hard, but I told her that I don't know any other way to love. There's no
Mhm,
degree loving hard or loving soft. You just love. And
mhm,
I pour into my mate and I expect the same thing. And when I was dating a guy and he was like, well, he's not affectionate. And he said his love language is more to show rather than to say. And I told him my
mhm.
love language is both. I say
Right.
and I show. And I told him if you want to know anything about me, look under the Pisces sign. I am a Pisces. True and true.
True blue hot Pisces.
Yes, I am.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. I was thinking earlier about the whole relationship thing, and I said, if people did their compatibility in their zodiac charts, that would like help a whole lot, because there are a lot of signs. Like some people say, it doesn't matter if you work it out with the person and y'all learn each other good enough. Any sign can go with any sign. But I beg to differ, because some signs are just so incompatible. Some kind of way, something's going to get in there and it
Nah,
becomes
sister.
big.
Can I say something to
Yeah,
that?
Pisces
I
are
was
sure.
on my way
compatible
to.
with every.
Go ahead, weigh in. We going this
Oh, go
one.
ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead.
this
Say what
is
you
how
gonna
it's
say,
going.
sister. Go
Go
ahead.
I
ahead,
said
sister Yvette.
I said Pisces are compatible with anyone.
Okay, y'all got a lot of compatibility. All right. I
I can
actually never
agree.
looked into it, but I always get along with
Are you
Pisces.
like a February Pisces or you a March Pisces?
March 17th.
I can agree.
Oh,
But what I was
okay.
gonna say is this. You think what you said about the zodiac and everything, the natal chart. I think we
Mm-hmm.
did something back in the ancestry line where we looked at the natal chart of when that baby came in, and we
Probably
knew
did.
what the
Yep.
kids were good at.
Yes.
That's deep for a reason. I think we got away from that.
You right
So we
about
would
that. Yep.
know that alignment our kids, okay, this child gonna be really good in political
Right.
warfare.
And we
We
still
send
do
that
that.
child over
Yep.
to study that. We
Mm-hmm.
do, right? But we got this college thing. We go to a university when the university's
Right.
already inside of us.
Mm-hmm.
Where we
And
going? We
a
got the
lot of
natal
things
chart.
is exactly. And the thing is, a lot of our people now go through the church, and they require, before you get married or whatever, they do a little counseling thing and talk with, both of y'all about, why you want to marry each
It's
other
so
and
crazy that you
and
say
whatnot.
that. I'm about to
Exactly.
put
And
you on
that
to
is
something right quick.
that is the very exchange of looking at their charts. Like they took that out and did this little, they made it
Yeah.
Christianized everything. But I think
You,
our way is better. I know it's better,
you,
matter of fact.
it is. You know what I did too? You know how the church was built? You know the
Mm,
church was built on a Virgo and Pisces. It was
right.
built on the
Mm-hmm.
Virgo and the Pisces, right? I'm gonna tell you why. A lot of people don't pay attention to the Virgo symbol. If you look at
Mm,
the Virgo, right, it's very similar to the Scorpio symbol, but the
to
only difference
Scorpio.
is it has a fish hanging on the bottom. That's the Pisces.
Right.
The Pisces and
Mm-hmm.
the Virgo once was one,
Yep.
separated. A lot of people don't pay attention to it. That's why Virgos and Pisces collect. They connect so well.
Mm-hmm.
Like if
Yep.
you put a Virgo and a Pisces together, you got the whole thing. You got the world wrapped in one.
Yep. So for a Pisces, they may get along with other signs, but your best bet is that Virgo. That's going to be the explosion.
Oh yeah, because that
you know.
water and that
And
Virgo's
even
that Virgo is that
in your
earth. So they
differences,
nurturing.
you'll find compatibility.
They giving
Hmm.
off just the
And
right
so,
amount of water to that earth.
right. And the
So
thing
it's
is,
not
they could literally
dry
move
or
mountains together.
oversaturated. Yep,
Right.
exactly.
And so that's the thing. Like, even when the children are born now, we look at their zodiac and, like you said, we tell what they're going to be good at and this and that. We really do need to go back to that with our relationships. Like when they
That's
first
where
come
it at.
together. I believe in Africa because my cousin, he just got married and had a baby girl in Ghana. And I believe when they got together, they did, you know, do their positionings together. And
Because that's how we
really
bring
good
down other
couple.
stars. If the things ain't
Mm,
aligned, think about it. Like my biggest problem for me, why I probably don't have any kids is because I haven't been aligning with the right women. Whatever
right.
energy I carry, I'm on life path 11, I'm on master number, so I can't just get with
Wow.
any sister.
I'm a
I
8,
can't.
right? You are life path 11?
Yeah, I'm a master
Yo,
number.
after this show, we need to make a schedule thing where we go on live and I'll go online and we'll look at the charts. And I think we could
Right.
do a live like that too. We could do
We
a
should
live
be
like
able
that and
to.
do charts for people. Like, let's do a relationship show where we do people compatibility
We've
charts
been talking about
and
it.
they leave
So
us a
when is a
donation.
good day for you? That would be a good thing to do. That definitely would be a
Yeah,
good thing
let's
to do.
definitely, no,
At
we're
least
gonna do
once a
that.
week.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm writing it down. We definitely gonna do that. This has been a very pregnant show. It's been a couple of things that's getting ready to be born out of this show. But that's a wonderful thing. But just being truthful about it, it's not easy to maintain a relationship. You're looked at very highly in society when you're able to maintain 20, 30, 40 years. Most of us look up to that, especially women. you know uh it's actually our intent as little girls to, we don't intend on having 3 and 4 husbands. That's not part of our fairy tale. It's that one, you know what I'm saying? And it happens. I actually have met so many Black couples that have literally known each other and been messing around and been together since grade school. you know so many couples. Actually, my grandson's parents have that story. But apparently it's not hard to keep track of somebody for about 30, 40 years. A lot of people get together and they were actually schoolmates and whatnot, but years later they end up hooking up. So there's so many great stories out there. I'm trying to scout for some significant relationship success stories out there for us. We need to see it. Um yeah, so does anybody have anything else to add? Do we feel better about forming and maintaining relationships now?
Absolutely, it's very insightful. I definitely learned. I definitely learned. That's a fact.
Yeah. Well, like me, I have been married twice. This is my second marriage. And I must say that you do learn a lot. And it's okay to not be compatible and you both agree, rather than live a lifetime of just agony, I would say. So my first husband was a Scorpio as well. But I tell you, we had a lot of pluses. The money situation was great. Our business minds and everything, like, we definitely ruled the world. And then um our morality as far as raising the kids was pretty much the same. And the main things that we needed to have compatibility, and we did. What the issue was is we're both with our boundaries. you know it was the boundary thing that we weren't compatible with, which is fine. But we're very good friends now, and I think it was a better chance for happiness for both of us. But yeah, I do believe that compatibility has a lot to do with whether relationships are going to work out or not. And being that we're live, if there's anyone that out there that would like to challenge that perception, please contact me and we could debate about it if you like. But because it's worth debating and letting the people see, because we do need to bring that back into, our community. Literally, we did rely on the cosmos a lot, you know. Okay, absolutely. So we're wrapping up now, everyone. Thank you. This was a very insightful and wonderful show. And so
Absolutely.
I look
Absolutely.
forward to next Sunday's topic. And during the week, if anything strikes you as super important and you think it would be great, definitely, let me know and we can work
Okay.
that out. But as for
10-4.
tonight, I would like to say peace and love and blessings to the
Thank
panel.
you.
We have Sister,
Salute. Salute.
Queen Goddess Mother Earth. We have Brother Raheem and Brother
Black Power.
Rizzy.
Salute.
And I'll pat myself on the back. And we also had Brother Thomas from Black Service Podcast. He had to cut off early, but yes, I'm patting myself on the back because I'm terrible with the whole name thing. And I'm really challenging myself, my memory, to remember everyone's name and put the title first. Like if it's God or King or Queen Goddess, Mother Goddess. So everyone have your patience with me. I will get it right. And until we meet again, this has been another Tanya 23 experience. Peace and love. And remember, put love first in your interactions this week. And then we'll talk about the results on Sunday. Maybe you'll run into a
Absolutely.
super demon and put love first. That's going to shut them down. But definitely tell us, the good parts and like the horror movie, how it went down, how you stabbed it and everything like that. We love the gory details on the Tanya 23 experience. So peace and love to everyone and we'll see you next week.
Peace and love.
Salute. Black Power.
Ashe,
I shake.
Ashe and Hotep.